You're live.
Shalom.
I am in the live now.
Yes.
Okay. Narayanam namaskrityam naran chaiva narottamam devim sarasatim vyasam tato jayamadiraye nastaprayasya bhadreshu nityang bhagavat sevayam bhagavatiruttama sloke bhaktiribhavati naishtakim mukham karati vachalam pangulangayate girim jatkripa tamaham bande Sri Guru dinatarinam Sri Chaitanya Isharam Paramananda Madhavam Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto chapter 7, the killing of the demon Trinavarta. The summary we read, then we going to verses one after another, one by one. In this chapter, Sri Krishna's pastime of breaking the curse, Sakta Bhujana, Sakta Vanjana, Sakata Vanjana, killing the Asura known as Trinavarta, and demonstrating the entire universe is within his mouth, here especially described. When Sukadeva Goswami saw that Maharaj Pariksit was eagerly waiting to hear about Lord Krishna's pastime as a child, he was very much pleased, and he continued to speak. When Sri Krishna was only 3 months old and was just trying to turn backside up, before he even attempted to crawl, Mother Yashoda wanted to observe a ritualistic ceremony with her friend for the good fortune of the child. Such a ritualistic ceremony is generally performed with ladies who also have small children. When Mother Yashoda saw that Krishna was feeling asleep because of other engagement, she put the child underneath a householder cart called Sakata. And while the child was sleeping, she engaged herself in other business, pretending to the auspicious ritualistic ceremony. Underneath the cart was a cradle, and Mother Yashoda placed the child in that cradle. The cradle was sleeping, but suddenly he awakened, and as usual for a child, began to kick his small legs. This kicking shocked the cart, which is clopasses with a great sound, breaking completely and spilling all its contents. Children who were playing nearby immediately informed Mother Yashoda that the cord had broken. And therefore she hastily arrived there in great anxiety with the other gopis. Mother Yashoda immediately took the child on her lap and allowed him to stroke her breasts. Then various types of Vedic ritualistic ceremony were performed with the lap of the Brahmanas. Not knowing the real identity of the child, the Brahmanas showers the child with child with blessings. Another day, when Mother Yashoda was sitting with her child on the lap, she suddenly observed that she had assumed the weight of the entire universe. She was so astonished that she had to put the child down and in the maintain Trinavarta, one of the servant of Krishna. Trinavarta, one of the servant of Krishna. Kamsa. Appeared there as a wind and took the child away. The whole tract of land known as Goloka became surcharged with dust. No one could see where the child had been taken. And all the gopis were overwhelmed because he had been taken away in the dust storm. But up in the sky, the Asura, being observed by the child, could not carry the child far away, although he also could not drop the child because the child had covered him too tightly that it was difficult to him to separate the child from his body. Thus Trinavarta himself fell down from a very great height, the child grasping him thickly by the shoulder, and immediately died. The demon having fallen, the gopis picked up the child up and delivered him to the lap of Mother Yashoda. Thus Mother Yashoda was struck with wonder, but because of Yogamaya's influence, no one could understand who Krishna was and that had actually happened. Rather, everyone began to praise it fortunate for the child's having been saved from such a calamity. Nanda Maharaj, of course, was thinking of the wonderful foretelling of Vasudeva and began to praise him as a great yogi. Later, when the child was on the lap of Mother Yashoda, the child yawned, and Mother Yashoda could see within his mother the entire universal's manifestations. Text number 1 and 2. Sri Rajayuvacham Yena avatarinam Bhagavan Haririshwaram Kruti Karnam Ramayanim Manogyanesha Naha Parvoh Yats शरणवत्युप्रीत अवतेरवृष्णा स्वत्तं ससुदायन्त अरिशना पुंसं भक्तिरे हरोर्तत् पुरुषास संख्यां तदेव हरं वेद मनयस्य च. Translation. King Parikshit said, "My Lord, Sukadeva Goswami, all the virus activities exhibited by the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead are certainly pleasing to the heart and to the mind. Simply by one's hearing of those activities, the dirty things is one's mind immediately beneath. Generally, we are reluctant to hear about the activities of the Lord. But Krishna's childhood's activities are so attractive that they are automatically pleasing to the mind and ear. Those one's attachment for hearing about material things, which is the root cause of material existence, vanishes, and one gradually develops devotional service to the Supreme Lord, attachment for Him, and friendship with devotees who give us the contributions of Krishna consciousness. If you think it fit kindly spoke about those activities of the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. As stated in Padma Purana, Prema Vaivarta, Krishna Bahir Mukhaya Bhagavansa Kare Nikatasta Maya Tare Japatiya Dare. One material existence is Maya or illusion in which is we desire different virus of material enjoyment, and therefore change to different varieties of bodies. Brahmaya sarva bhutani yantrarurani mayaya asyan api kalasya dehe. As long as we have those temporary bodies, they give us many varieties of tribulations. Adhyatmika, adibhutika, and adidevika. This is the root cause of all sufferings. But this root cause of suffering can be removed by revival of our Krishna consciousness. All the Vedic literatures presented by the Vyasadeva and other great sages are therefore intended to revive our Krishna consciousness, which is began to review with Sravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Sravana Kirtanam Srivartanam Sarva Katha Krishna Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17. Srimad Bhagavatam and another Vedic literatures exist simply to give us the chance to hear about Krishna. Krishna has different avatars or incarnation, all of which are wonderful and which is arduous. One is inquisitiveness, but generally such avatars as Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha are not as attractive as Krishna. First of all, however, we have no attractions for hearing about Krishna, and this is the root cause of our suffering. But Parikshit Maharaj specifically mentioned that the wonderful activities of baby Krishna, which is imagined Mother Yashoda, and the others inhabitants of Braja, are specially attractive. From the very beginning of his childhood, Krishna killed Putana, Trinavarta, and Sakatasura and soured the entire universe within his mouth. Those the pastime of Krishna, one after another. Keep Mother Yasuda and all the inhabitants of Braja in great astonishment. The process to revive one's Krishna consciousness is Adu Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.15. The pastime of Krishna can be properly received from devotee. If one has developed a little bit of Krishna consciousness by hearing from Vaishnava about the activities of Krishna, one becomes attached to Vaishnava who are interested only in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj recommended that one hear about Krishna's childhood activities, which is more attractive than the activities of another incarnations, such as Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha. Wanting to hear more and more from Sukadeva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit requested him to continue describing Krishna's childhood activities, which is here especially easy to hear and which is create more and more inquisitiveness. Okay, text 3. Please read.
Atanyadapi Krishnasya Lokarcharitam Adbhutam Manushama Lokam Ashadya Tajjati Manurundataha. Hare Krishna. Translation. Please describe other pastimes of Krishna, the Supreme Personality, who appeared on this planet Earth, imitating a human child and performing wonderful activities like killing Putana. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maharaj Parikshit requested Sukadeva Goswami to narrate other childhood pastimes exhibited by Krishna while playing as a human child. The Supreme Personality of Godhead incarnates at different times in different planets and universes according to the nature of those places. He exhibits his unlimited potency. That a child sitting on the lap of his mother was able to kill the gigantic Putana is extremely wonderful for the inhabitants of this planet. But on other planets of the inhabitants are more advanced, and therefore the pastimes of the Lord performs there are still more wonderful. Krishna's appearance on this planet, like a human being, makes us more fortunate than the demigods in the higher planets, and therefore Maharaj Parikshit was very much interested in hearing about him. Text 4. Sri Shuka Uvacha Kadachid Autanika Kautu Kaplave Janmarksha Yoge Samevaita Yoshitam Vaditra Gita Drivja Madra Mantra Vachakaish Chakara Shunor Abhishechanam Masati. Translation. Sudeka Goswami said, when Mother Yashoda's baby was slanting his body to attempt to rise and turn around, this attempt was observed by a Vedic ceremony. In such a ceremony, called Uttana, which is performed when a child is due to leave the house for the first time, the child is properly bathed. Just after Krishna turned 3 months old, Mother Yashoda celebrated this ceremony with other women of the neighborhood. On that day, there was a conjunction of the moon with the constellation Rohini. As the Brahmanas, joined by chanting Vedic hymns, and professional musicians also took part, this great ceremony was observed by Mother Yashoda. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There's no question of overpopulation or of children's being a burden for their parents in a Vedic society. Such a society is so well organized and people are so advanced in spiritual consciousness that childbirth is never regarded as a burden or a botheration. The more a mother grows, the more his parents become jubilant, and the child's attempts to turn over are also a source of jubilation. Even before the child is born, when the mother is pregnant, many recommended ritualistic ceremonies are performed. For example, when the child has been within the womb for 3 months and for 7 months, there is a ceremony the mother observes by eating with neighboring children. This ceremony is called Svada Bhakshana. Similarly, before the birth of the child, there is Garbhadana ceremony. In Vedic civilization, childbirth or pregnancy is never regarded as a burden. Rather, it is a cause for jubilation. In contrast, people in modern civilization do not like pregnancy or birth, or childbirth, and when there is a child, they sometimes kill it. We can just consider how human society has fallen just since the inauguration of Kali Yuga. Although people still claim to be civilized, at the present moment there is actually no human civilization, but only an assembly of two-legged animals. Krishna name. Oh no, I was just saying Hare Krishna. We're on text 5. Nandasya patni krita majana digama viprahi krita svavastya yanama supijayitihi supujitaihi anadya vasaha shagabhishtadenubihi sanjata nidraksham ashishayachanihi. Translation. After completing the bathing ceremony for the child, Mother Yashoda received the Brahmanas by worshipping them with proper respect and giving them ample food, grains, and other eatables, clothing, desirable cows, and garlands. The Brahmanas properly chanted the Vedic hymns to observe the auspicious ceremony, and when they finished, and Mother Yashoda saw that the child felt sleepy, she lay down on the bed with the child until he was peacefully asleep. Purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. An affectionate mother takes great care of her child and is always anxious to see that the child is not disturbed, even for a moment. As long as the child wants to remain with the mother stays with the child, and the child feels very comfortable. Mother Yashoda saw that her child felt sleepy, and to give him all facilities for sleep, she lay down with the child, and when he was peaceful, she got up to attend her other household affairs. That reminds me, I would always want that, so that's very true. I don't know about you, but whenever I was younger and I wanted to go to bed and I couldn't go to sleep, I would always ask my mom or my dad to come in. Read me a story, read me a bedtime story, whatever it is.
Right.
Now it's like, Krishna, let me read a story about you so I can go to bed. Text 6. Ahutani kautsukya manasvini samatgatan pujati vrajau kashaha naira shnod vai ruditama sutasyasa rudan star nati charanawo wudakshipat. Translation. The liberal mother Yashoda, absorbed in celebrating the Uttana ceremony, was busy receiving guests, worshipping them with all respect and offering them clothing, cows, garlands, and grains. Thus, she could not hear the child crying for his mother. At that time, the child Krishna, demanding to drink the milk of his mother's breast, angrily threw his legs upwards. Krishna, purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Krishna had been placed underneath a household handcart, but this handcart was actually from another form of the Sakatasur, a demon who had come there to kill the child. Now, on the plea of demanding to suck his mother's breast, Krishna took this opportunity to kill the demon. Thus he kicked Sakatasur just to expose him. Although Krishna's mother was engaged in receiving guests, Lord Krishna wanted to draw her attention by kicking Sakatasur, and therefore he kicked that cart-shaped demon. Such are the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna wanted to draw the attention of his mother, but while doing so, he created a great havoc not understandable by ordinary persons. These narrations are wonderfully enjoyable, and those who are fortunate are struck with wonder upon hearing of these extraordinary activities of the Lord. Although the less intelligent regard them as mythological because a dull brain cannot understand them, they are real facts. These narrations are actually so enjoyable and enlightening that Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadev Goswami took pleasure in them, and other liberated persons following in their footsteps become fully jubilant by hearing about the wonderful activities of the Lord.
Movie producer.
Movie producer.
Director. Text 7. Adda sayanasya sisor anu lipaka pravala mird angri hatam via vartata vidvasta nana rasa kupya bhajanam vyat yasta chak raksa vibina kubaram. Translation. Lord Shri Krishna was lying down underneath the handcart in one corner of the courtyard, and although his little legs were as soft as leaves, when he struck the cart with his legs, it turned over violently and collapsed. The wheel separated from the axle, the hubs and spokes fell apart, and the pole of the handcart broke. On the cart, there were many little utensils made of various metals, and all of them scattered hither and thither. Purport. Srila Visvanatha Chakravarti Thakura was commented on this verse as follows. When Lord Krishna was a very tender age, his hands and legs resembled soft new leaves, yet simply by touching the handcart with his legs, he made the cart fall to pieces. It was quite possible for him to act in this way and yet not exert himself very much. The Lord in his Vamana avatara had to extend his foot to the greatest height to penetrate the covering of the universe. And when the Lord killed the gigantic demon, Hiranyakasipu, he had to assume the special body feature of Nrsimhadeva. But in his Krishna avatara, the Lord did not need to exert such energy. Therefore, Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In other incarnations, the Lord had to exert some energy according to the time and circumstances, but in this form he exhibited unlimited potency. Thus the handcart collapsed, its joints broken, and all the metal pots and utensils scattered. The Vaishnava Dasani remarks that although the handcart was higher than the child could easily touch the wheel of the cart, and this was sufficient to send the demon down to the earth. The Lord simultaneously pushed the demon to the earth and superficially broke the handcart. Text 8. Jisteva Yashoda Pramukha Vraja Striya Otanike Karmaniya Samagattaha Nanda Dayas Buddha Darsana Kulaha Katam Svayam Ve Sakatam Viparyagat. Translation. When Mother Yashoda and the other ladies who had assembled for the Uttana festival, and all the men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, saw the wonderful situation, they began to wonder how the handcart had collapsed by itself. They began to wander here and there, trying to find the cause, but were unable to do so. Text 9. Uchar avya vasita matin Gopan gopischa balakaha Rudatanena padena Kasiptam etanna samshayaha. Translation. The assembled cowherd men and ladies began to contemplate how this thing had happened. It is the work of some demon or evil planet, they asked. At that time, the small children present asserted that the cart had been kicked apart by the baby Krishna. As soon as the crying baby had kicked the cart's wheel, the cart had collapsed. There was no doubt about it. Purport. We have heard of people as being haunted by ghosts, having no gross material body. A ghost seeks shelter of a gross body to stay in and haunt. The Sakatasura was a ghost who had taken shelter of the handcart and was looking for the opportunity to do mischief to Krishna. When Krishna kicked the cart with his small and very delicate legs, the ghost was immediately pushed down to the earth and his shelter dismantled, as already described. This was possible for Krishna. He has full potency as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 5.32. Angani yasya saka dandriya vrityamanti vasamanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sarvajvala vigrahasya govindam adi purushantam bhajami. Krishna's body as Sashid Ananda Vigraha or Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigrahaya. That is, any of the parts of his Ananda Chinmaya body can act for any other part. Such are the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord does not need to acquire these potencies. He already has them. Thus Krishna kicked his little legs and his whole purpose was fulfilled. Also, when the handcart broke, an ordinary child could have been injured in many ways, but because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he enjoyed the dismantling of the cart, and nothing injured him. Everything done by him is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, full transcendental bliss. This Krishna factually enjoyed. The nearby children saw that actually Krishna had kicked the wheel of the cart, and this was how the accident happened. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, all the gopis and gopas thought that the accident had taken place because of some bad planet or some ghost. But in fact, everything was done by Krishna and enjoyed by him. Those who enjoy the activities of Krishna are also on the platform of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. They are liberated from the material platform. When one develops the practice of hearing Krishna Katha, he is certainly transcendental to material existence, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sa gunan sama tityatan brahma bhujayaya kalpate. Unless one is on the spiritual platform, one cannot enjoy the transcendental activities of Krishna. Or in other words, whoever engages in hearing the transcendental activities of Krishna is not on the material platform, but on the transcendental spiritual platform. Text 10. Nate sra dadhire gopa bala basitam iti uta aprameyam balam tasya bala kasyana te viduha. Translation. The assembled gopis and gopas, unaware that Krishna is always unlimited, cannot believe that baby Krishna had such inconceivable power. They cannot believe the statements of the children, and therefore they neglected these statements as being childish talk. Text 11. Rudantam sutam adaya yashoda graha sankita kirta savas yayanam vipraha sukte stanam apayayat. Translation. Thinking that some bad planet had attacked Krishna, Mother Yashoda picked up the crying child and allowed him to suck her breast. Then she called for experienced brahmanas to chant Vedic hymns and perform an auspicious ritualistic ceremony. Purport. Whenever there is some danger or some inauspicious occurrence, it is the custom of Vedic civilization to have qualified brahmanas immediately chant Vedic hymns to counteract it. Mother Yashoda did this properly and allowed the baby to suck her breast. Text 12.
Okay, text 12. Puravarsataptim gopir Bali bhiswa prasisadam Viprahuta barasyam chakror Dhyada aksta kusam biha. Translation. After the stone stout cowherd man assembled the pots and paraphernalia on the handcart and set it off as before. The Brahmanas performing a ritualistic ceremony with a fire sacrifices to appease the bad planet, and then with rice, grain, kusa, water, and curd, they worship the Supreme Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The handcart was loaded with heavy antislids and other paraphernalia to set the cart back in its original position required much strength, but this was easily done by a cowardman. Then, according to the system of the Gupajiti, various Vedic ceremony were performed to appease the climateous situation. Text number 13 to 15. After that we stop here. Long purport. Ya suryatra davabrastam his हिरिंस्यामाना ब्रजानः न तस्यं सत्यशालिनम् अशिशु विपलं कृता इति बालक्यम् अद्यं सम्रज्ञा युयोरुपाकृतं जलीला पर्वत्रोषुधिभ्रेर् अभिष्यस्य देवज्युत्यमाम् वाचयित्वा सबात्यं नाम नन्दगोपसमाहिता हुत्या चागीनं दिवज्यं प्रदअन्नं महागुणाम्. Translation: when Brahmanas are free from enemy, untruthfulness, unnecessary freight, Garuda's distributions by the opulence of others, and foolish parasitic, their blessing never go in vain. Considerate this, Nanda Maharaj severely took Krishna on his lap and invited such truthful Brahmanas to perform a ritualistic ceremony according to the holy hymns of Syama Veda, Raga Veda, and Yajur Veda. Then, while the hymns were being chanted, he bathed the soil with water mixed with pure hearts, and after performing a fire ceremony, by simultaneously feed
Sumptuously. It's
sumptuously feed all the Brahmanas with fire class, grain, and other food. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nanda Maharaj was very confident about the qualification of the Brahmanas and their blessing. He was fully confident that simply if the good Brahmanas shower their blessing, the child Krishna will be happy. The blessing of qualified Brahmanas can bring happiness not only to Krishna, their supreme personality of the Godhead, but to everyone's. Because Krishna is self-sufficient, he does not require anyone's blessing. Yet, Nanda Maharaj thought that Krishna required the blessing of the Brahmanas. What then is true that Krishna required the blessing of the Brahmanas? What then is to be said of others? In human society, therefore, there must be an ideal class of men, Brahmanas who can bestow blessing upon others, namely upon the Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. so that everyone will be happy. Krishna therefore says in Bhagavad Gita 4.13 about human society must have four social order chatur varnam maya srishtam guna karma vivagasa. It is not that everyone should become a Sudra or a Vaishya and human society will prosper. As unstated in Bhagavad Gita, there must be a class of Brahmana with qualities like Satya, truthfulness, Syama, peacefulness, Dhamma, self-control, and Titiksa, tolerance. Here also in the Bhagavatam, Nanda Maharaj invite qualified Brahmanas. There may be caste Brahmana and we have all respect to them. But their birth and Brahmanas families does not mean that they are qualified to bestow blessing upon the others members of human society. This is the Vedic of the Shastra. In Kali Yuga, caste Brahmana are accepted Brahmanas. Viprasuttam eva hi. Srimad Bhagavatam 12.2.3. In Kali Yuga, simply by putting on a thread where two pieces on become a Brahmana. Such Brahmana are not called for by Nanda Maharaj, as stated by the Nanda Muni, Narada Muni. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.11.35 Yasya yal lakshmana proktam. The symptoms of a Brahmana are system in Shastra and one must be qualified with those symptoms. The blessing of Brahmanas who are not envious, distributed of or purified of with pride and false prestige, and who are fully qualified with truthfulness will be useful. Therefore, a class of men must be trained as Brahmana from the very beginning. Brahmachari Gurukula Vansadanto Gururuhitam. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.12.1. The words Dhanta is the very important. Dhanta refers to one who is not envious, distributing or puffed off with false prestige. With the Krishna consciousness movement, we are trying to introduce such Brahmanas in society. Brahmanas must ultimately be Vaishnava. And if one is a Vaishnava, he has already acquired the qualification of a Brahmanas. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na susati na kankyati sama sarvesya bhutesu mad bhakti lavate param. Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita 18.54. The words Brahmana Bhuta refers to the becoming a Brahmanas or understanding what is the Brahman. Brahma Jnanati Brahmana. One who is Brahmana, Brahma Bhuta, is always happy. Prasannatma. No susati, no kankati. He is never disturbed about material necessities. Syama sarvesu bhutesu. He is ready to bestow blessing upon everyone's equally. Mat bhaktim lavate param. Then he becomes a Vaishnava. In this age, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur introduced the thread ceremony for his Vaishnava disciple, with the idea that people should understand that when one became a Vaishnava, he had already acquired the qualification of a Brahmanas. Therefore, In that International Society for Krishna Consciousness, those who were twice initiated so asked to become Brahmanas must bear in mind their great representability to be truthful, control and mind and senses, be tolerant and so on. Then their life will be successful. It was such Brahmanas that Nanda Maharaj invited to chant the Vedic psalms, not ordinary Brahmanas. Verses Trenet distinctly mentioned Himsamana. The word mana refers to false prestige or false praise. Those who were foolishly proud, thinking that they were Brahmanas because they are born in Brahmanas family, were never invited by the Nanda Maharaj on such associations. Verses 14 mentioned Prabistro Sodhi. In any ritualistic ceremony, many habits and level were required. Those were known as Pavitra Patra. Sometimes there were Nimba leaves, neem leaves, sometimes bell leaves, mango leaves, asatha leaves or amloki leaves. Similarly, there are Panchagabhya, Pancha Sasya and Pancha Ratna. Although Nanda Maharaj belonged to the Vaishya community, everything was known to him. The most important word in those verses is Mahagunam, indicating that the Brahmanas were offered very palatable food of exalted quality. Such palatable dishes were generally prepared with two things, namely food grains and milk products. Bhagavad Gita 18.44 therefore enjoins that human society must give protection to the cows and integrate agriculture, krishi goruksha vanijyam vasya karma samavajam. Simply by expert cooking, handed and thousands of palatable dishes can be prepared from agriculture products and milk products. This is indicated here by the word Annam Mahagunam. Still today in India, from those two things, namely food grain and milk, hundreds and thousands of varieties of food are prepared, and then they are offered to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Chaturvida Sri Bhagavat Prasada Patram Puspam Phalam Tuyam Yo Me Bhakta Prajachati. Then the prasad distributed. Even today in Jagannath Kshetra and other big temple, very palatable dishes are offered to the deity and deity. Prasad is distributed peacefully, cooking by first-class Brahmanas with expert knowledge and then distributed to the public. This prasad is also a blessing from the Brahmanas or Vaishnava. There are four kinds of prasada: Chaturvidha, salty, sweet, sour, and pungent testas are made with different type of spice, and the food is prepared in four divisions called Karvya, Kasya, Lahya and Panya. Prasada, that is seaweed. Prasada, that is liquid. Prasada tastes with the tongues. And prasada, that is the drum. There are many varieties of prasada prepared very nicely with grain and ghee, offered to the deity and distributed to the brahmanas and Vaishnava, and then to the general public. This is the way of human society. Killing the cow and spoiling the land will not solve the problem of food. This is not civilization. Uncivilized man living in the jungle and being unqualified to produce food by agriculture and cow protection may eat animals. But a perfect human society advanced in knowledge must learn how to produce first class food simply by agriculture and protection of cows. So wonderful, so clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita. Na?
Yeah. Very clear.
Anything discussion and question, comment?
Just reminds me that I have to learn to start growing my own food. Protect more cows, use the cows and bulls to help our farms, It's the best kind of fertilizer you can get.
Nanda Maharaj is the Vaisya. We have a four varna and ashrama. Do you know that? Four varna is the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaisya and Shudra.
Okay, yeah.
So this is the four varna. And four ashrama is Brahmacharya, Girastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Like your age, example, you are the now Brahmacharya ashram. Like surrendering spiritual master, under spiritual master, guidance spiritual master, serving devotionals, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, serving lotus feet of Guru. This is Brahmacharya ashram. And if Brahmacharya wants to go in Girastha ashram, he can take permission from his spiritual master and Guru and authority. After if he thinking, I am changing my ashram, he can change his ashram to Girastha ashram. He can get married. Only one. Not, I have one wife and different girlfriend. So this is the ashram we have. Then Panchas Urdam Vanam Brajet is called after 15 years. If you taking care of your family and if you have son, then you can hand over to your family life, family member, your mother, your sister, your daughter. You can hand over to your son, whoever grow out already have. He has capacity to taking care of his family member. Then after 50 years, you have to take Vanaprastha ashram. Vanaprastha ashram means husband and wife. They are not more any attached to their family member, their family life. They simply living high thinking. In Kali Yuga, it is not possible to go to the forest. They should go to the ashram and they should worship Supreme Personality of the Godhead, husband and wife. Then after 25 years, if he is thinking, he has to take permission from his wife to take sannyas. The sannyas means fully renounce order of life. Everything, you cannot attach anymore your life. You cannot connection anymore in your wife, your family member. Fully surrender unto the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of God. And preaching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu movement. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh Amar agya guru haiya taro ei desh. Whenever you see the people, you can preach to chant the holy name of Krishna, serving lotus feet of Krishna. It is the renounced order of life, sannyas. Then your life will be successful. So this is the ashram, 4 ashram.
Do you necessarily have to follow that? Like, do you have to get married, you know?
Now, if you don't want to get married, you can directly go to the sannyas ashram. That is also the process. Next, like if you're thinking, I cannot maintain my brahmachari life, then you can change your ashram, get married, because this Kali Yuga is very difficult to stay in brahmachari life.
Right.
So they can change their ashram. And Nanda Maharaj knows because he is Vaisya. There is mention in Bhagavatam. In Kali Yuga, with people think I am born from the Brahmana family, so I need the respect. I am the Brahmana. They have what is called ignorance. I am born in family. I am the Brahmana. This is not. So Srila Prabhupada, in our Krishna consciousness movement, we have like giving example, second birth you can say. After get initiation, this is your second birth. Srila Prabhupada giving initiation to the disciple, make disciple. The devotee giving initiation, first initiation and second initiation.
What is second initiation?
Says second initiation is the giving traits. Like second initiation is spiritual master giving mantra.
Okay.
The Gayatri mantra, this is called. So then regularly you have to chant 3 times in the day. Then you will be Brahmana, a qualified Brahmana. Srila Prabhupada first giving first initiation. First initiation is giving chanting the mantra, beats. Like we chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So after 2 years, 3 years, 5 years later, if you think I will be qualified to take initiation as second initiation in Brahmana, like most of the temple we have very small quantity devotee, so they don't have so much devotee to deity worship like here. Spiritual master think I have to give second initiation. Only after second initiation you can task the deities, you can worship to the deities. This is our standard in our Krishna consciousness movement in ISKCON. In all over the world, everywhere, whenever you go, the second initiation devotee only can cook for the deities, only for worship to the deities in morning paraphernalia, morning archana, changing the dressing. Only whoever second initiated devotee only can task. So that's why Nanda Maharaj is invite Brahmanas. He said that they are very qualified Brahmanas. Kali Yuga, they mention at that